The topic that you can see on the screen is dealing with dignified disposal of dead bodies. First, I would like to apologize. You have already seen gruesome pictures in the morning, but I'll be discussing further as to how to deal with the dead bodies and what is the dignity of the dead bodies. Now, this topic doesn't seem like much because when I thought we are daily dealing with the dead bodies as a part of forensic medicine, and culturally, as we are brought up, we know that whenever we see a dead body, or even respectfully, we bow down our head and we do give respect to the dead bodies when we see around as a normal human being, not even just forensic medicine people. So I don't think that there was much to talk about because it's a daily ongoing activity for us. But then when I realized that we recently went through COVID pandemic, and there were news around where we had seen that bodies were piled up because of the huge fatalities that it entailed. So because of that, and even the bodies were dumped on the shores of rivers and even dumped into the rivers. And when I saw those articles, I realized, are we really following those words that we have been brought up with? Do we really care about the dignity of the dead? During those times, let's see if that is true or not. The current presentation I have structured as in 4 Ds, that is definition of death and dead body, dignity of the dead body, dealing with the dead body, and finally, disposal of the dead body. I'll be discussing each in few slides. Now, the first is the death and the dead body. Now, death, as we know, it's an enigma. When we say it's something which is universal, we say if somebody is born, he has to die. Secondly, it's irreversible. We say if nobody comes back from the dead. So basically, philosophy is ongoing about death. But as such, our Black's Law Dictionary defines it as cessation of life. That is permanent cessation of all vital functions and signs. Now, in Indian law, as if we see, it has been defined in 3 separate ways. Section 46 IPC defines it that if we talk about death, it's death of a human being, unless contrary. And the Section 2B of Registration of Birth and Death Act defines it as permanent disappearance of evidence of life at any time after live birth has taken place. And similarly, Section 2E of Transplantation of Human Organ Act defines as death, basically it defines a deceased person in which permanent disappearance has taken place with respect to brainstem death and cardiopulmonary cells. If we see, if we don't go into the basic implications, and it's another debatable topic currently, that why we have 3 separate definitions in a common law. So, but keeping it aside, we can say when we are talking about death in law, we are talking about death of a human being. So, secondly, when death has happened, we end up with a dead body. Now, being medical legal people, we can categorize them into unknown and unknown dead bodies. Now, what is an unknown or unclaimed dead body? It has been defined in the various state anatomy acts. So, Rajasthan Anatomy Act defines it in one where a deceased person is not claimed by any of his near relatives or any person of his caste, creed or religion, and that has to be done within 7 days. Now, various anatomy acts do differ a little bit in the claimants or even in the period. Like in UP, a servant can come forward for the cremation, for the claiming. Karnataka says, okay, anyone interested in claiming the dead body can come. It's there in the Anatomy Act, believe it or not. But Delhi, it says near relatives or any friend who can come forward claiming, and that has to be done within 48 hours. There it is 7 days. Then secondly, what we talk about is non-dead body. It is contrary to the definition that it can be anyone who, any body which is being claimed by their near relatives. Once that we have established that dead body it's there, but like I said, I just discussed about COVID pandemic, and there we started having doubts about our conscience and the way we treated our dead bodies during that time, where it was maybe because we were not coping up nicely, we were not prepared for it, but the question was, do we really give that body as a right and should have been, because it was that of a human being? Did we really thought that it's a human being who was alive or some, and but has now dead? So it was a question of dignity, whether we were giving it the proper or not. And because of that dignity, we start thinking about that dead body is right, as that of a human being, right? So next question was, do dead bodies really have rights? I mean, all rights are there for living beings, but are they there for dead? So when I went through it, I realized that yes, rights are there for the dead, maybe not explicitly there in the law, but they have been defined. So if you can see, we can categorize them into two parts. First is pertaining to disposal of the bodies. Secondly, for rights wherein we see for their protection, that no untoward ill treatment should happen to those corpses. So we can categorize them into two, and we'll be discussing those. Regarding the rights, if we see the international format, we can say that there are declarations and covenants where they have defined the rights of a dead body. The Geneva Convention, which is set forth, Geneva Convention, which basically centered around the protection of the civilians during the war zones. They have in their Article 16 and Article 130, they have defined that if there is a war zone, military people, they should try to look for the wounded and the killed people, and if found, their dead bodies should be retrieved, they should be taken, given protection, they should be buried if needed for a temporary purpose, and then handed over to their next of kin. Another similar thing was there for the UN Commissions on Human Rights 2005 resolution, and finally the Article 6 of the UN's IASC Guidelines 2011, which has a separate chapter on it, stating to be dealing with the mortal remains. They all talk about how those dead bodies should be treated dignitily, and they should be taken care of, and the whole idea is to give them the respect that they own, being that of a human being. In Indian scenario, if we look, we don't think that there are no explicit laws about it, but as a human being, as a part of constitutional rights, like the one which gives us the fundamental rights of life and the practice to religion as we want, that freedom and that right to life and liberty, though it has been there in Article 21 and 25, it has now been extended owing to the judgments given by the Honorable Supreme Courts and High Courts. They have extended the definition of these rights to convert to say right to life can be taken to be a life with dignity, which is lived with dignity, and thereafter, even if the person dies, the same dignity should be given to their corpses also. There are certain landmark judgments on this. The famous Permanent Patara case of 1995, it was the first one where it was stated that yes, dead bodies, if dead bodies have to be taken care of, they are given the respect and they are entitled to that dignity. And thereafter in Ashray Adhikar Abhiyan versus Union of India and other cases also, the Supreme Court has reiterated the same notion that Article 21, which is a fundamental right, which is a basic fundamental right that is given to a living person, is also extended to that of the dead. There were certain high court cases also wherein this was stated and confirmed, and during their COVID times also, as we can see the cases which are listed in 2020 or 2021, this it was taken to be a senior photo cases also, wherein I spoke about the pandemic cases wherein the bodies were dumped, or even they were piling up in the mortuaries because of lack of resources and the ill treatment that they were getting, even the mixing up of bodies because of that. All those were taken into account, and various landmark judgments were given, and it really made an impact, stating that there were infringements of those fundamental rights when we were taking care of those dead bodies. Finally, even if we look at the rights of the dead body, we can say the Transplantation of Human Organ Act also provides the same. If a person doesn't want to donate his body parts or doesn't want to give tissues, he can simply refuse. Even permission has to be taken from the next of kin if need be. If they don't want it, it cannot be taken. So that is the right of that dead body. Finally, in the Indian Succession Act, it also gives the right for his will to be taken care of in the way that he deserves and the way he wanted when he was alive. Finally, when we talk about the crimes that are committed against those corpses, there are certain sections of IPC where indirectly they have been taken care of. Whereas Section 297 criminalizes trespassing on burial grounds for insulting to the religion, and it also covers indignity to the human corpse. Section 404 of IPC, it criminalizes the dishonest misappropriation of the property of the dead, which if it is taken when it was lying with the body and it has been dishonestly misappropriated, and it is also criminalized. Finally, Section 499 criminalizes the defamation of dead body, and finally, 503 IPC also states that you cannot slander the reputation of a dead body for intimidation purpose of a living person who she is or he is entrusted. There are certain judgments where courts have asked for future legislatures. I've tried to compile a few, wherein the first is right to access the dead body. There have been instances where hospitals, they have retained the dead bodies because they were not giving the final payment. So they were not handing over the dead body to their next of kin. And there they have asked that it should be covered under Section 340, which is that it has been confinement, wrongful confinement. Thereafter, there was a case of Mohammed Latif, wherein he asked for the exhumation of his son, who was killed as a part of a terrorist group and buried in the state, where but his father wanted that his body should be retrieved and it should be given to him so that he can give the proper burial at his own home place. So that was a case wherein Supreme Court stated that the exhumation is covered under Section 176 CRPC, but it is only meant for cases wherein a criminal intent was there and criminal background has to be there to clarify, and for that purpose exhumation needs to be done. But in this very case it was not so, but there is no legislature regarding that. Finally, the most heinous crime that has now come into picture is necrophilia, wherein even bodies, they have been sexually assaulted in the mortuaries or even exhumed and then sexually assaulted and even killed because of this very sexual assault pleasure that they get by committing it on the corpses. These cases though were asked to be dealt with Section 297 and 377, but still it is something which needs improvement by the legislation. Finally, this has come into picture, that is the new legislature where Rajasthan was the first state wherein under the Rajasthan Honor of the Dead Body Bill, they have criminalized demonstrations and dharnas that were made on the roads by keeping the dead body. So they have now criminalized it, and secondly, it has also covered and provided for few provisions for disposing of unclaimed dead bodies with dignity. Now, if I try to compile everything that we have covered in the part of dignity, I can say that NHRC advisories that they issued in 2021 during those COVID times, they have compiled it under 7 basic principles. These principles are no discrimination in treatment of body in any form, no physical exploitation, decent and timely burial or cremation, to receive justice in case of death due to crime, to carry out a legal will, no defamation and no breach of privacy. In 7 principles they have covered how to uphold that dignity and we can protect the rights of the dead. Now coming on to the third part of the presentation, that is dealing with the dead bodies. Now we know how to deal with known dead bodies. So known MLC dead bodies, as and when recovered, they become a part of inquest, be it a police inquest or a magistrate inquest as the case may be. And once they have done a little bit, inquest is done, they bring the body for our postmortem examination and ask for us to ascertain maybe the cause of death, time since death, if possible, manner of death. Now these are the known cases. But when it is an unknown cases, another feature that has to be added is the identification part. Now, when they deal with the identification part, they either publish it in the newspapers or they go through this ZipNet service, which is currently available in 10 states, including Rajasthan. And as of today, there has been 1 lakh plus cases all over. And in Rajasthan itself, there are 10,000 cases which are listed as unidentified dead bodies. So this is the algorithm that everyone knows about. In Delhi, we keep the dead body for a period of 72 hours for its identification. If anyone not done, it may be extended, but most of the time it is not done. Autopsy is conducted and we preserve the samples for DNA and conduct the autopsy. Finally, keeping in view the DNA samples are kept, and even few states, if I can add Uttarakhand, their FSL has now created that DNA database. What our cases do is they retain the DNA, they retain the material which is preserved for DNA and keep it till anybody comes for it, and then they generate the DNA. But Uttarakhand and has the state as FSL, what they have done is they have prepared a DNA database from the material that they have retrieved. The first effort that was done by AIIMS Delhi, wherein they have designed a website known as UNIDE, which is an acronym for Unidentified Dead Bodies and Missing Persons Identification Portal and DNA Database. Now they have this phenotypic information. Any common person can go access it. If they find that this person is a relative and they are seeking as a missing person, they can go to the respective police station, compare their DNA, and at least get closure that they know what happened to their relatives. The same provision has been now asked for in the Rajasthan Honor Bill also. Now, further, because during that COVID times, Supreme Court did take up a case in wherein it asked for certain things to be done, certain SOPs to be made, how to deal with those unknown dead bodies. So this was a case wherein the bodies were dumped by a certain medical college after conducting postmortem and without stitching into the nearby river. So they were floating corpses. So that case was filed in Supreme Court, and then asked the Ministry of Home Affairs, they asked the National Security Strategies to design an SOP. And they went all aboard and they suggested few things wherein they suggested that there should be an e-inquest, they should generate a unique ID for that dead body, which should be converted to QR code so that it can be easily disseminated. Finally, they said that they even gave a checklist for the doctors, how they should proceed on with that. They suggested that we should have robots for postmortem examination, especially for infected bodies. And finally, it's all about AI nowadays. They stated that we should design a website voting for that. Even Aadhaar-based and Election Commission data should also be incorporated so that those dead bodies can be identified as soon as possible. And the rest is NDMA guidelines and WHO guidelines for the disaster management we all know about, and finally the DEI in the whole protocol. Finally, now that we have already dealt with, this is something which we all know and we won't be going into much of details. The ways of disposal we all know, and even if they are not disposed in cremation or burial, people nowadays prefer to preserve the dead bodies of their new ones by embalming, plastination or cryonics. Even their bodies can be donated also. Can be donated to medical colleges for anatomy department, and even there is a concept of cadaver labs nowadays wherein fresh corpses they are used after being donated for practicing surgeries and for looking for new equipments that can be used. And this is already, few of the states they already have their cadaver labs. Finally, there is in Delhi we have that standing SOP wherein the unknown dead bodies, if only the identification is an issue which is not solved, those bodies can be waived off and can be given. Now finally, the bodies they are disposed of, it's a responsibility of the state because burial and cremation grounds are in its portfolio, so they are cremated. In Rajasthan, we have this Andeshti 5,000 for the funeral arrangements per body. Finally, just to give an outline, Dastan Honor Dead Will, it was passed on 20th July recently, and it has talked about everything. It has talked about rights of the dead person, wherein they have said that yes, dead body deserves a funeral, a timely funeral, and it should not be delayed, and it should be done by the family members, and it's their liability that they have to take care of it, and they cannot use it for demonstrations. So based on that, they have even stated punishment for that. And finally, it has also described the disposal of the unclaimed dead bodies, wherein they have given this provision for data bank and digitization. So coming on, in the conclusion, I would say that Selvent Juris, it has said that if a living person has some anxieties, what will happen after death? It's all about three things. It's either his body, reputation, and property. So these are the ones which are taken care of by the law, and it's our obligation that we respect the dead and in a dignified way, because they don't have voice. Our laws provide them that voice. And we should sensitize our mortuary staff and doctors to give that courtesy to those dead people. And finally, for unknown, we should not take it lightly. We should try our best to identify and help the police get closure for the dead body